Welcome. In today's video, I offer you to use my time machine and travel to a time when the name Mike Tyson was disrespected by daring rooster fighters who ended up defeated in the ring once their chance to beat him came to an end. Do you have an idea of what time I'm referring to? Stay until the end. Mike Tyson versus Jesse Ferguson. The year was 1986 when Mike Tyson, with a professional record of 17 knockout victories without defeats, faced Jesse Ferguson. For some reason, Ferguson was confident that his record of 14 victories, 10 by knockout and 1 defeat, would give him enough experience to halt Tyson's unstoppable rise. Before stepping into the ring at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, he took it upon himself to discredit the young man who was about to become a living legend. On February 16th, Tyson's fists would ultimately teach him a harsh lesson. Once they got into the ring, Tyson landed deafening hooks to Ferguson's body and snapped his head back on a couple of occasions.
Then have some of Tyson's 12 first-round knockout victims, but now,
in the Will Carl Williams fight, we saw Jesse special. He threw a tremendous left hook, missed with it, and didn't go off balance.
Ferguson fought much of the first half of the first round with his back against the ropes, which was not a good omen. He sought to block Tyson's attacks and occasionally, during the last minute, managed to execute some of his own.
Ferguson landed one good left.
However, Tyson's cruel offensive continued to punish Ferguson's body during the second round.
Right now, Ferguson's just fighting.
Absolutely not. Would not try to win.
Much of the third round was spent in internal struggles where Tyson managed to overpower Ferguson. Having leaned against the ropes until then, Ferguson managed to execute a good flurry halfway through the round, causing Tyson's head to recoil.
Has won the first 2 rounds and is controlling the third.
But his dirty fighting style would soon be admonished for leading with the head and holding Tyson by the neck. Ferguson only dirtied his performance further by throwing a couple of punches after the bell that ended the 4th round, but Tyson missed while responding. Ferguson began by trying to mitigate Tyson's attacks, but only succeeded in having his nose broken just over 2 minutes into the 5th round. Effectively, due to the same blow, he was sent to the canvas severely.
A TKO defeat, not a decision. Was in trouble in both the first and 10th rounds, and now he's in trouble.
It took him just after the count of 8 to get up, but it was the worst decision he could have made. While the referee watched closely, Tyson took care to brutally beat him for the rest of the round.
Rivera almost stopped it there.
Ferguson would come out of his corner, swinging for the 6th round, before being pressed against the ropes and punished with powerful headshots. In the desperation to nullify Tyson's attacks, Ferguson began to cling to his body and refused to let go. For this, he received a warning past the minute mark of the round. But only a few seconds later, he would cling to Tyson again and prevent the referee from putting any distance between them. Thus, Luis Rivera made the signal that ended everything.
Ferguson, he must maintain a little bit of distance so that he's going to take a point. He's disqualified.
Ferguson had finished the match severely injured and as a coward, unwilling to face his destiny. And Tyson descended from the ring as the winner by technical knockout at 1 minute and 19 seconds of the 6th round. Mike Tyson versus Lorenzo Boyd. He claimed that Mike Tyson was a vulnerable fighter. He criticized his fighting style, saying he made many mistakes in the ring, and he assured that, after studying him, what Tyson did was flawed. When asked if he would finally be the one to hurt Tyson, he not only said he could do it, he assured he would. What do you think happened when he entered the ring with him? On July 11th, 86, in the ring at the Stevensville Hotel in Swan Lake, New York, an unprecedented encounter took place. Tyson, maintaining his undefeated record with 23 victories, 21 of them by knockout, faced Lorenzo Boyd. Boyd, with a professional record of just 16 victories, only 9 achieved by knockout and 5 defeats, had the audacity to discredit Tyson's skills in the media days before the fight. By then, everyone wanted to be the one to make Mike taste the bitter taste of defeat, but they were far from achieving it. And once in the ring, Boyd learned not to speak too much when your skills are not up to defending your words. After the bell rang to start the match, Tyson came out to win. The aggression in his offense was so evident that it could almost be felt, and Boyd didn't know where to start to put out the fire. From the initial bell, Tyson hurt Boyd with right hooks to the body, thus breaking his fighting spirit. The intensity of Tyson's offensive was so high that it did not allow Boyd to mount his own attack, and during that first round, Tyson broke Boyd's nose, probably as a premise of what he was willing to do around the corner.
Looking for an opening. I know Boyd wants to come in with the uppercut, but hasn't shown. Solid body shots from Tyson. A minute to go in round. Boyd trying to answer back.
Tyson continued to dominate the pace of the fight during the second round. Boyd's impulses to win were diminishing in front of the beast he was facing in the ring. Finally, Tyson closed the night with a strong right hook to the body, crowned with a clean right hook that landed just below Boyd's chin.
By Jim Jacobs and Bill Clayton. Good right uppercut. Right now he backs off from a sharp right uppercut to the body by Tyson. Again!
Tyson's power was undeniable. With this perfect execution, he sent Boyd sprawling to the canvas. Sid Rubenstein, the referee, acted as a forensic examiner at the scene of the crime. He reached the count of 8 before ending the fight. By the time Tyson and his corner were celebrating the victory by knockout at 1 minute and 43 seconds of the second round, Boyd still lay on the canvas. After the fight, Boyd's testimonies regarding Tyson changed drastically. "He's stronger than I thought," he said. "He caught me very well in the ribcage, and then I got scared," he said. When asked if he saw Mike Tyson in the future defeating any heavyweight of the moment, Boyd only replied, "Yes, he will go for all of them." Lorenzo Boyd learned not to be a loudmouth the hard way. Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. On November 22, 86, the prophecy sung by Lorenzo Boyd upon being defeated by Mike Tyson began to come true. In the ring at the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas, Tyson faced his destiny and fought Trevor Berbick as a challenger. Berbick had to defend his newly won World Boxing Council heavyweight title, and his champion status made him overly confident. Despite publicly acknowledging Tyson's merits earned through punches, Berbick assured that he was not bothered by him being his challenger because he was the champion. Berbick claimed he trained hard and prepared physically and mentally for the worst, and Tyson was not the worst. He even called himself a soldier of the cross, capable of overcoming all demons. But once in the ring, the soldier ran out of ammunition for the battle. The damage in the second round began, with Tyson sending Berbick to the canvas with a series of blows that ended with a left hook. Despite falling spectacularly, he got up, indicating to Mills Lane, the referee, that he was okay to continue the fight. However, it was evident that he wasn't. His weakness was exposed when he tried to hold on to Tyson in clinches and stop him. He even tarnished his performance by hitting Tyson during a break. A cowardly action that earned him a warning from Mills Lane, who ordered him to play fair.
Command in this fight right now. We're only in round 2, and then Wild on the break, and Mills Lane wants holding off Mike with the left. And you see the right hand landed. He might
Just at the end of the second round, it was over for Berbick. A deadly left hook landed on his temple, and in a delayed reaction, he finally fell onto the seat of his shorts. Berbick tried to recover, but stumbled towards the ropes near his corner and fell. "Fallen soldier!" must have echoed in his mind. He tried to straighten up, but his arms couldn't hold him. He staggered towards where he had originally fallen, in the center of the ring, and went straight to the canvas once again. It was a grotesque scene. He tried to stand up once more, but stumbled towards a neutral corner. By then, Lane's count had reached 9. When Berbick finally managed to stay on his feet, he failed to pass Lane's approval. Immediately, for his safety, the fight was stopped. Thus, Mike Tyson made history by becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in the noble art of boxing. And what a fight! If you've made it this far, I thank you. Did you enjoy this trip back in time? Remember that there is no better way to support my content than by leaving your like on the video. Do you know of any other Rooster fighter who was defeated after his fight with Mike Tyson? Tell me about him in the comments.
The passage through the history of boxing of Mike Tyson is written in golden letters of indelible ink, manufactured with the blood, sweat, and tears of all those who ever tried to defeat him in the boxing ring. Some more arrogant than others, Iron Mike boasts a long list of opponents left sprawled on the canvases of the most iconic rings worldwide over decades. In today's video, I bring you a countdown filled with explosive jabs, soul-piercing direct hooks, and sadistic combinations of punches that earned the youngest heavyweight champion in history not only the title of the one to beat just by seeing him approach.
It's 7.
I hope you're comfortable because the level of aggression and violence you're about to witness will captivate you until the end of the video and won't let go until the safety count is over. Ready for a new journey through time? Let's do it. Mike Tyson versus Donnie Long. It was October 9th, '85, when Mike Tyson and Donnie Long answered the cold call of destiny to face off in the ring at the Trump Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Accompanying them was the legendary Frank Cappuccino, present in so many relevant contests, joining what was expected to be Tyson's first fight against a legitimately powerful opponent. Mike's professional record remained clean with 8 victories by knockout, while Donnie seemed to struggle to maintain his status as a contender with 15 wins, 10 of them by knockout and 3 losses. Already angered by Long's audacity to rise again, unleashed a barrage that made him kneel a minute with
Second time.
who couldn't accept the no to victory only to receive a short left hook that bent his knees and sent contest. But even without starting the safety count, Frank Cappuccino knew that Long was no longer a match for Tyson and decided to stop the fight before exposing him to much more severe damage. After this brutal knockout, 1 minute and 28 seconds into the first round, Mike sent only a lethal kiss to the camera. Mike Tyson versus Mitch Green. May 20th, '86. For many, just another day. For boxing history enthusiasts, the great night when Mike Tyson and Mitch Green faced off at Madison Square Garden in New York. In addition to their participation, George Colon, George DeGabriel, and Pat Dolan would play an important role in the bout, acting as judges. Their critical eyes had to point out a clear winner in case the fighters' fists didn't do it by the end of the scheduled 10 rounds. With Mike Tyson, a beast with a clean record of 20 victories, 19 by knockout, and Mitch Green, who had 16 wins, 10 by knockout, 1 loss, and 1 draw, a true clash of titans was anticipated. After the bell signaling the start of the battle, Tyson focused on pressuring Green at all times. 3 times he managed to make Green's mouthpiece fly, and in as many occasions he left him in a state of shock with short and devastating blows to the head and body.
Keep that jab in his face and not be for 10 rounds. I had the same experience when I fought your opposition, knowing that he's capable of maneuverability.
Good left hand by
Leaning back. Watch the left hook of Mike Tyson.
However, Green showed what he was made of by not falling to the power of the Iron Mike legend and defending himself with tough flurries every time Tyson opened his guard.
Every time Mitch Green moves backwards, you notice that there is no mouthpiece in Mitch Green's mouth. He was knocked out by a left hook.
There is no doubt that the crowd of over 6,500 people experienced many moments of excitement, although during the last rounds they showed their displeasure with chorus of boos. Tyson never put Green in danger except once during the early episodes when it seemed he would go down from 2 body shots. After 10 thrilling and exhausting rounds, Mike Tyson defeated Mitch Green by unanimous decision of the judges.
Another day in the classroom. Big left hand to end things. His 21st straight win and as many fights, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. In '89, specifically on February 25th, Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno made history by facing each other at the Las Vegas Hilton Center in Nevada. It was Tyson's first defense of the Ring Magazine's World Heavyweight title, the 5th defense of the International Boxing Federation World Heavyweight title, the 7th defense of the World Boxing Association World Heavyweight title, and the 8th defense of the World Boxing Council World Heavyweight title. There was an announced crowd of 9,860 people, and the average ticket price had been $700. It was Tyson's first fight in 8 months, and before this, he had never been away from the ring for such a long time. Everyone was eager. Iron Mike initiated the contest on a good note. In his corner, he delivered a short right to Bruno's jaw with enough force to knock him down. Referee Richard Steele counted to 8 to allow Bruno to get up with a clear head. Bruno began to play dirty when he landed a punch on Tyson's nape, resulting in a point deduction on the judge's scorecard.
Solid left and a right by Tyson, and now Bruno rabbit punches Mike.
But by the end of the round, he would recover. He used his skillful right fist to hit Tyson with enough power to immobilize him for a moment, followed by a left hook that caught him squarely. The knees of the champion, who until that moment seemed unbreakable, bent, and he had no choice but to step back. Like any good warrior, Tyson knew how to rise from the ashes and defeat Bruno by technical knockout 2 minutes and 55 seconds into the 5th round.
Trying to land the one haymaker.
Oh, it's just a matter of
It's
time here.
suspicious punishment.
That's not shot. That's that bolo shot. Beautiful shot.
Steele has seen enough.
Still, after the fight, he praised the powerful punch that Bruno gave him, stating that it was harder than the punch Tony Tucker gave him. Mike Tyson versus Peter McNeely. Breaking his own record of returning to fight after a long hiatus, we reach August 19, 1995. The date when Mike Tyson stood under the spotlight again to face Peter McNeely at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. The venue was fortunate to host a fight described as an overwhelming financial success. How could it not be? It was Tyson's first fight in 4 years due to his prison sentence. It was a highly anticipated bout that set a new record for pay-per-view sales. The fight lasted only 89 seconds, which were enough for Mike to wreak havoc in the ring. McNeely started the fight aggressively, thinking Tyson would be out of shape due to his time behind bars. Mike managed to avoid the wild punches of an opponent who couldn't even grasp the magnitude of the danger he faced and landed a right hook that left him on the canvas in less than 10 seconds into the bout.
As advertised, comes right at Mike Tyson. Down goes McNeely.
After taking the count of 8 from Mills Lane, the referee, McNeely got up to continue attacking Tyson aggressively. Both were exchanging blows in a corner by the first minute of the round. Less than 20 seconds later, Tyson landed a right hook loaded with enough force to drop McNeely for the second time.
Mills Lane said stop that nonsense because it was starting to butt heads.
Tyson with a left hook, a right uppercut down.
It was then that Vinny Vecchione, McNeely's manager, jumped into the ring to prevent his fighter from suffering more damage. This simple but cowardly act was enough for Mills Lane to stop the fight and declare Tyson the winner by disqualification. Mike Tyson versus James Smith. Back in '87, if we look at the calendar, precisely on March 7th, at the Las Vegas Hilton Outdoor Arena in Nevada, the event Mike Tyson versus James "Bone Crusher" Smith took place. A fight that was recorded in history despite its controversial outcome. Unlike the previous opponent, James and his team decided not to flee like rats at the first sign of danger. In what would be Tyson's first defense of the World Boxing Council heavyweight title and Smith's first defense of the World Boxing Association heavyweight title, both fighters were more than willing to go the distance of the scheduled 12 rounds. Tyson's clean record of 28 victories, 26 of them by knockout, made him the clear favorite against Smith, with 19 wins, 14 by knockout, and 5 losses. Perhaps the fight lasted so long because, instead of bombarding, Smith resisted to the point of receiving 2-point deductions from Mills Lane, the referee, for his blatant attempts to cling to Mike's body.
Jab by Tyson. Hand by Smith. Nowhere near its mark. Tyson unloading on Smith.
Tyson felt so frustrated during the fight due to his opponent's defensive tactics that he decided to engage in several shoving matches between rounds, hoping to provoke enough fury in Smith to initiate a good exchange of blows. But the intensity Tyson emanated was rarely reciprocal, making the fight last until the end of the 12 rounds, with a predator trying to hunt down prey playing it safe. In the end, Dalby Shirley scored 119-107, Jose Juan Guerra scored 119-107, and Lou Tabet scored 120-106, all in favor of Tyson. Thus, he was proclaimed the winner by unanimous decision of the judges in a fight that could have given more but recorded its passage through the history of the discipline as a title unification. Mike Tyson versus Tony Tucker. Continuing the line of fighters who managed to finish a fight against Iron Mike standing, but not without enduring hellish punishments inflicted by the fists of the young knockout machine, we arrive at August 1, 1987. In the ring at the Las Vegas Hilton Center in Nevada, another title unification fight took place, this time between Mike Tyson and Tony Tucker. With Mills Lane as the referee, it was Tucker's first defense of the International Boxing Federation Heavyweight World title, Tyson's second defense of the World Boxing Association Heavyweight World title, as well as his third defense of the World Boxing Council Heavyweight World title. It was the final fight of HBO's Heavyweight Unification Tournament, keeping thousands of fans around the world on edge as it was a clash between two undefeated fighters. Tyson's clean record stood at 30 victories, with 27 of them by knockout, while Tucker's record surpassed it with 34 victories, 29 of them by knockout. It was something completely unusual, and it seemed that finally a fighter had arrived who would give the invincible Iron Mike his first defeat. During the fight, Tyson had trouble landing more than one punch because Tucker fought very well, engaging in a battle of survival. Tucker's aggressive fighting style allowed him to shake Tyson's head with powerful right-hand punches during the early rounds.
Technically speaking, no one gave Tucker, and we always felt that he was susceptible to take jabs.
Another right hand.
However, after the fourth round, the promising opponent started losing steam, and that's when he shifted to survival mode to reach the 12 scheduled rounds. Tucker kept his distance, moved around the ring, dodged Tyson's explosive charges, and occasionally managed to neutralize the attacks of a beast that no one had tamed before. It wasn't until the last two-thirds of the fight that Tyson landed significant blows, although Tucker showed he hadn't perished on the battlefield by delivering a powerful left hook to Tyson's head during the final round.
Susceptible to the uppercuts. Sometimes work. Great fight.
After a long battle, the three judges voted for Tyson. Phil Newman scored at 119 to 111, Julio Roldan marked 118 to 113, and Bill Graham added 116 to 112. After the fight, sports press experts claimed there were no knockdowns precisely because Tony Tucker had the intelligence to change his fighting style, adopting tactics that had frustrated Iron Mike in previous bouts. Mike Tyson versus Tony Tubbs. A Tony who didn't know how to adapt to Tyson's aggressive fighting style and succumb to him in the ring was Tony Tubbs. On March 21, 1988, Tubbs faced Tyson at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan, in about scheduled to last 12 rounds but had an extremely premature ending. It was Tyson's third defense of the International Boxing Federation heavyweight title, the fifth defense of the World Boxing Association heavyweight title, and the sixth defense of the World Boxing Council heavyweight title. With a professional record of 33 victories, achieving 29 of them by knockouts, Tyson still positioned himself as the overwhelming favorite against Tubbs with 25 victories, 16 by knockouts, and 1 loss. Historical fact, this was the second heavyweight world title fight in Japan. The first took place on September 1, 1973, where George Foreman defeated Jose Roman by knockout in the first round. During the first round, Tubbs had the opportunity to exchange punches with Tyson, mitigating the champion's attacks with jabs and quick combinations.
When he lost to Witherspoon, the only defeat.
However, he maintained a lax posture, rarely moving while fighting. The second round had a slow start like the first, but it would explode once Tyson began exerting more pressure on a stiff Tubbs who, unknowingly, was close to breaking.
It's going to be the stalking routine, as always, with Mike Tyson.
Of success with a jab, a very smart jab. He's pulling it.
The challenger's punches lacked the power to stop the champion, and Tyson saw the perfect opportunity to attack Tubbs' substantial body.
Now, watch for him bringing that area, bringing the uppercut there. I was a big fan of Tubbs when he was an amateur. He was
Again and again, he landed hooks to the stomach.
Pretty accurate.
Destroyer has got to work on this fellow all the time because it may not be one punch that would do it.
As the round approached its end, the effect of all these punches began to show. Tyson trapped Tubbs against the ropes, sinking him with a succession of direct hooks to his abdomen. Trying to stay in the fight, executing a weak combination of punches, in the midst of the exchange, Tubbs opened his guard and was completely exposed to Iron Mike's fury. Tubbs was caught by a left hook that struck his right eye, making him stagger in his feeble attempts to walk. After a couple of turns, he ended up falling backward motionless to the canvas. Arthur Mercant conducted the safety count, but it was clear from Tubbs' cut bleeding onto the canvas that he had nothing more to offer. Mike was declared the winner by technical knockout at 2 minutes and 54 seconds of the second round. Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. With the arrival of the new millennium, the possibility arose again that Iron Mike might not be as lethal as he was in the 80s or 90s. Intent on silencing all his detractors on June 8, 2002, in the ring at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee, Tyson had the courage to try to prove that he still harbored the power that made him the youngest heavyweight champion in history in his capable fists. Now the challenger, as the fight would be Lewis's first defense of the World Boxing Council, International Boxing Federation, and the Ring Magazine's heavyweight world titles. The confrontation began long before entering the ring when, during the January 22nd press conference of the same year, a brawl broke out between both fighters, their teams, and authorities, ending with the president of the World Boxing Council, Jose Sulaiman, unconscious. It was a strange scenario where Lewis was the betting favorite 2-1, but this only motivated the beast within Mike to prove that he could be champion once again. Once in the ring, the only audience bothered was those who trusted in Tyson's abilities to silence all those who blasphemed his name. In general terms, the fight can be defined as domination, as Lewis served as Tyson's executioner that night at the Pyramid. Tyson suffered cuts to both eyes, while Lewis's hard attacks to his face turned his nose into a source of blood.
You better fight Tyson. You better fight him. You better fight him good. You start to that time. That's what you got to do.
Trying to figure out a way.
Lennox Lewis will just move around the ring and do whatever he wants.
He is a dangerous puncher.
Lewis leads on Tyson. Connects with a right hand.
The long-awaited fight, which had been brewing for years, turned out to be a complete mismatch when it ended in the middle of the 8th round. Tyson had been caught by a series of powerful hooks, so strong that they made him fall to the canvas after suffering a crushing right to the chin.
Knockout past the 7th round. Lennox Lewis tripling Mike Tyson with a big up.
He did either, Larry.
Lewis unloaded. Oh, he's doing a good job. He's got heart. You can't take that from him. Right hand from Lewis.
There were only 35 seconds left in the round, but Tyson had little intention of returning to the fight. With the referee Eddie Cotton's count, Lewis's victory by knockout became official. Mike Tyson versus Tyrell Biggs. You didn't think I'd end this compilation with a decisive defeat for Iron Mike. Let's relive what possibly wasn't his best or fastest knockout but was the most satisfying of his professional career. On October 16, 1987, Tyson sought revenge against Tyrell Biggs by destroying him in the ring at the Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tyson and Biggs had known each other for years when young Mike kept the dream alive of representing his country in the Olympics. Due to his height, the Olympic team didn't believe in the skills of the young knockout machine to bring the gold medal home, making Biggs the chosen one. The rivalry between the two fighters began after, at the airport, in front of the media, civilians, and the rest of the team, Biggs humiliated Tyson by mocking the fact that he wouldn't be one of the Olympic fighters in the edition. So, patiently, Tyson trained to become the beast that would prove not only that he had everything and more to represent his country, but also to beat an Olympic medalist of Tyrell Biggs's caliber. Returning to the contest, both entered the ring undefeated. Tyson's record was 31 victories, 27 of them by knockout, and Biggs's record stood at 15 victories, achieving 10 of them by knockouts. It was Tyson's first defense of the International Boxing Federation heavyweight title, the third defense of the World Boxing Association heavyweight title, and the fourth defense of the World Boxing Council heavyweight title. Tyson not only felt that Biggs's medal should have been his, now there was a real risk that the same man could steal the titles for which he had worked so hard after being denied the opportunity of his life. Of course, he was going to turn the ring into a hunting ground. After the start bell, almost immediately, Tyson's hard fists began landing one after another on Biggs's jaw.
Tyrell Biggs, good lateral movement. Those hands should be up a little higher because, again, the hands.
The champion's left hooks seemed to rain on the challenger from all directions.
Before the punch actually is thrown.
Well, whatever he does, the fact that
and Tyson threw them as if he were in a batting practice, according to the praises of the sports press of the time. For 6 rounds, Biggs, the 1984 super heavyweight Olympic champion, had no choice but to absorb the hard bombs that Mike let hit him.
But he really bothered.
There's the hook again because his hands are down. Mistake.
That's something you pointed out before the fight.
This is a good education for the public, because the fans at home, because they're seeing.
By the 7th episode, the inevitable arrived. Biggs had had enough. The long-awaited victory came for Tyson at 2 minutes and 59 seconds when a left hook sent Biggs flying to his corner, where his body hit the canvas with his feet in the air.
And there's a right hand that just caught Biggs off balance. But he didn't put him away.
The elbow.
He is gone right now. He has and 10 seconds to go in a round. There's a left hand. He's down again.
Tyson not only achieved his 32nd professional victory that night, but also his personal revenge in what could be the most significant fight of his life. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Remember that there's no better way to support my content than by leaving a like on the video. Do you know of any other fights from the legend Mike Tyson where, for one reason or another, the ring turned into a massacre? Tell me about it in the comments. I'll be reading. Until next time. Mike Tyson has accumulated a lot of casualties in his professional boxing career against fighters who almost doubled his size. He has never felt fear or been intimidated by the words of those boxers who know how to attack in press conferences but fail to live up to their threats once they enter the honorable fighting ring. What happened on the day these two profiles clashed? Welcome. In today's video, I will talk to you about the fight where Iron Mike had to face the most conceited fat man of his entire career, and he lived to tell the tale. Once again demonstrating that punches have the final say in the noble art of boxing, this is the encounter between Mike Tyson and Brian Nielsen that everyone was talking about in 2001. I hope you're comfortable because this battle is about to begin. Born on April 1st, 65, Brian Nielsen is a well-remembered Danish professional boxer today. Probably his greatest moments of glory were experienced before stepping into the ring to face Iron Mike. From 96 to 99, he held the IBO heavyweight title. Nielsen successfully defended his title 5 times, even against the legendary Larry Holmes and the almost unstoppable Phil Jackson. Establishing the second highest number of defenses, second only to Vladimir Klitschko, he was not necessarily a rival you wanted to step into the ring with. At one point, he matched Rocky Marciano's record of 49 consecutive wins without defeats. With Tyson nearing the end of the second decade of his professional career, opinions on what would happen once he entered the ring to face Nielsen were more than divided. Under this uncertainty, both fighters entered the Parken Ring in Copenhagen, Denmark, on October 13, 2001. Steve Smager was the man tasked with ensuring a fair fight, while the critical eye of Erkki Marinen, Daniel Van de Wiel, and Marty Denkin were to declare a winner at the end of the scheduled 10 rounds if the force of their fists was not enough to claim victory. With 62 victories, 43 of them by painful knockout, and only one previous loss, Nielsen portrayed himself as the opponent to beat. His confidence facing the fight made him act like a conceited person, letting words slip that discredited Tyson's career up to that point. Tyson's 48 victories, 42 of them by knockout, were not exactly anything. But coupled with his 3 previous losses and 2 draws, it seemed the balance tipped in favor of the conceited Dane. With the bell sound, the first round of the contest began. Tyson honored his legacy from the get-go, cornering Nielsen and executing a powerful combination of body punches to waste no time in working towards his victory.
I'm not sure yet.
The body and the head now.
It seemed the Danish fat man had run out of ammunition early in the fight when he focused on his guard to avoid being injured by the missiles raining from all directions.
Tyson continues to unload. He's got a minute to go in round 1. 3. Big right hand to the head by Tyson, followed up by a left uppercut.
By the end of the round, Nielsen's attempts to counter Tyson's offense were not only weak, his face already showed how exhausted he was, and that's when he understood the magnitude of the problem he had gotten himself into. Backing up to being cornered seemed to be part of Nielsen's strategy for the start of the second round. Covering his face, he subjected his body to absorb the ruthless punches Tyson landed on him. Throwing 1 out of every 10 he received, the conceited Dane was swimming in dangerous waters by not making a real effort to change the course of the fight.
For a big guy, Nielsen doesn't really have a big wallet, not big power.
In the second round. Overhand right, partially blocked by Tyson. inside. Tyson working.
By the end of the round, Tyson went straight for the head with a combination of punches on the edge of the bell sound. With Nielsen grumpy about this event, everyone eagerly awaited to discover what would happen next.
To the second. Combination of the head by Nielsen still standing.
Barely into the third round, the Great Iron Mike showed that his machinery was still well-oiled by executing a sadistic combination of punches that immediately left Nielsen defenseless against the ropes.
Nielsen enters into round 3. The left eye was cut. Late of heads.
Tyson had the experience and patience necessary to work towards a victory against a fighter larger than himself, and he was proving it. Near the end of the round, Nielsen exposed his helplessness by grabbing Tyson by the neck. This dirty move was nothing more than a reflection of his inability to win in a fair battle, and the fact led him to receive a clear warning from Smager saying, "That doesn't fly here." Once the fight resumed, Mike showed that there was no need to resort to dirtiness to tame a rival. Like teaching a lesson to his adversary, he executed a powerful combination of punches as punishment that sent Nielsen directly to the canvas for some reflection.
The crowd getting behind Nielsen.
Quick, get off his neck, bye.
Oh, quick combination of the head, and down goes Nielsen.
Getting up immediately, he could continue the fight following the mandatory count of 8. In the midst of a clinch, a low blow from Tyson made him dance around the ring.
Nielsen looking to make it to the bell.
After the bell sound, the giant Dane continued to move from side to side, seeking some stability. Arriving at his corner, he fell to his knees and, trying to get up, fell back down. He couldn't take it anymore. Tyson's body shots had torn him apart. But his stubbornness amidst the screams from his corner forced him back into the fight. Without any mercy, Tyson pushed Nielsen against the ropes after the first blow of the fourth round. Continuing to work towards his victory with body combinations, Mike's experience told him he already had half the job done. Occasionally, Nielsen tried to neutralize Tyson's offense with the right hand. But this meant nothing compared to the bombs Tyson threw left and right.
Oh, a heavy right hand after the left uppercut by Tyson.
Dane's holding up. Now he's doing it on Nielsen.
Unfortunately for the Dane.
Nielsen tried to create distance between himself and Tyson at the start of the fifth round. His new strategy was frustrated when Mike broke down the barriers with the force of his fists. Trying to buy some time, Nielsen began to cling to Tyson's body. Halfway through the scheduled rounds, how much time could he buy with such a cowardly approach?
Right there, and then he countered with a big right, heavy right hand. The crowd hoping for a miracle here.
At the start of the sixth round, just one punch from Tyson was enough to leave the conceited Dane against the ropes. Trying to defend himself only made him neglect his guard, forcing him to absorb the ruthless punches Tyson connected with him without much difficulty. By the end of the round, Mike changed the target of his missiles and directed them straight to Nielsen's head. Making him dance around the ring, it was evident how afraid he was to start a close fight against the legend.
Oh, a big right hand by Tyson to that.
He got started that too, Steve. He got his head up in the air and almost took it off.
Another slashing right, a right hand by Tyson.
At the end of the sixth round, both fighters returned to their corners for the regular break. Tyson looked as fresh as someone who had just woken up from a restful sleep, but the same couldn't be said for Nielsen. Throughout 6 tough rounds, the conceited Dane was the one who had endured the bitter part of the encounter. When the bell called the fighters to start the 7th episode, the camera focused on Nielsen, who was still in his corner. Hidden among his team, it was communicated that he decided to surrender. For what he had achieved so far, victory was decided for Tyson as a technical knockout. That man who everyone thought would be an easy target for living the last years of his activity in professional boxing showed that there was still much of himself to offer to the discipline. While this was one of Mike Tyson's last victories, the moment of his retirement keeps him dignified even today. On the other hand, Brian Nielsen didn't learn any lessons after that tough night of excessive punishment and continued with his conceited attitude towards the man who was once the youngest heavyweight champion in history. During the following years, Nielsen assured the sports press that there were better fighters than Tyson. Unfortunately, he proved not to be one of them. If you've made it this far, I thank you. If you liked the story, remember there's no better way to support my content than leaving your like on the video. Do you know another one of Tyson's last fights that also deserves its moment on my channel? Tell me about it in the comments. For now, you have a myriad of options to accompany you at any time of your day. Select the next one and I'll see you there.
Boxing is often called the noble art of fists and a gentleman's sport, where there is no place for dirty rats who want to intimidate more than they can fight. Even the great Mike Tyson had to deal with fighters who tested his patience by mocking his abilities before their encounters. Patiently, karma awaited them to deliver justice on fight day through Mike's powerful fists. Welcome. In today's video, I'll show you what instant regret looks like using examples of boxers who threatened Mike Tyson over the years and ended up shooting themselves in the foot. Get comfortable, because this recap of Iron Mike's journey through the history of the sport is about to begin. Mike Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. It was '86, and Mike Tyson had already begun to make waves in the world of professional boxing. On July 26th, in the ring at Glens Falls Civic Center in New York, he was set to face his next big rival, Marvis Frazier. Frazier's confidence in his abilities bordered on egotism, believing himself superior to young Iron Mike. However, Tyson's undefeated record of 24 wins, 22 of them by painful knockout, strongly defended his skills in the ring. With Joe Cortez as the third man in the ring, the fighters jumped into action. Tyson used a devastating right hook to knock out Frazier just 30 seconds into the originally scheduled 10-round fight. The fighters met in the center of the ring after the opening bell, and Tyson quickly caught the arrogant Frazier off guard with a right hand. Forcing him into a corner, he struck him with a hook that sent him to the canvas.
Uppercut, and Marvis is hurt.
Cortez counted only to 5 before signaling the end of the fight. Mike Tyson versus Mitch Green. Mitch Green was well known for his street past. Despite boxing being a gentleman's sport, Green tried to mix it with gang dirt by behaving like a true thug. When his fight against Tyson was confirmed, he made death threats on his behalf. Completely ignoring sportsmanlike rivalry, Green really seemed ready and willing to shed blood on the canvas. But on May 20, '86, at Madison Square Garden in New York, his skills would fall short compared to his words. Tyson managed to press Green at all times, landing some powerful blows directly to the head and body.
Tyson comes out like a locomotive, going straight for him, and he didn't double up. He just was a little bit lazy, but being conditioned like Tyson, there is no...
Defending himself with flurries, Green refused to go down against Tyson. The fight overall was an emotional outburst, which young Iron Mike ended up winning by unanimous decision.
Always aggressive, right in front of his man. Now we see some head movement. And have it leaning back. Watch the left hook of Mike Tyson land.
He did draw a warning from Luis Rivera, the referee, about holding. Green's in trouble. They fought.
Look at here.
Just laughing at him.
What's going to happen?
2 years later, Green took the rivalry to the streets by ambushing Tyson coming out of a store and starting an underground fight. Once again, Tyson prevailed against the poor gangster who couldn't intimidate anyone but himself. Mike Tyson versus Tyrell Biggs. Biggs won the gold medal in the super heavyweight division at the '84 Olympics, but that doesn't mean he was an exemplary athlete. In fact, his participation on the national team sparked a rivalry between him and Tyson that began on the street and ended up in a professional boxing ring later on. Tyson, shorter and not so exaggeratedly muscular, was rejected by the national team for the Olympics. Who did manage to make the cut? Biggs. And he didn't hold back from mocking Tyson for it. When the team was about to board the plane to go to the training camp, Tyson decided to approach them to wish them luck. Biggs, in front of everyone, in a sarcastic tone, said he didn't know what young Mike was doing there, but he was sure he wouldn't be boarding the plane with them. By '87, when fate brought them together to square off, Biggs made sure to make it clear he didn't see Tyson as the fighter everyone was trying to sell him as. According to Biggs, he knew him from the back and knew he wouldn't last a couple of rounds in the ring. On the night of October 16th, in the ring at Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Tyson let his skilled fists have the final say. Dominating him throughout the fight, he defeated Biggs by technical knockout 2 minutes and 59 seconds into the 7th round.
Stevenson, and I admit it was 5 years ago, but he really bothered me.
There's the hook again because his hands are down. And the way that Biggs is moving, very seldom you see Biggs come back with a combination of his own.
All the way back to amateur days. Another left hand, and there's a...
Oh, that
was a tremendous left hand.
Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. The fight between Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno was one of the most anticipated, but also one of the most overshadowed. Due to issues in Mike's personal life, the date kept getting pushed further away. In fact, do you remember the underground altercation between Tyson and Green? Because of that fight, the date was also postponed once. Tyson hit Green so hard in the face that he broke his right hand. But besides that, many more events prevented the youngest world heavyweight champion from getting into the ring to fight. At one point, Bruno started spreading rumors that Tyson was just making excuses to skip the fight. Gradually, those rumors seemed to gain credibility among fans and tentatively could escalate to the sports press. Fortunately, they dissipated on the night of February 25, '89, when, in the ring at Las Vegas Hilton, both fighters finally squared off. Mike Tyson ended up defeating Bruno by technical knockout 2 minutes and 55 seconds into the 5th round, after setting a pace of fight that the bold mouth couldn't keep up with.
Standing for him, he get tagged again by a right hand. He's trying to... The right hand catches Bruno. Left hook. Bruno looks ready to go. Now Tyson. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell. Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer it, Richard Steele has moved in.
Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno II. Not content with a first defeat, Bruno did everything possible to secure a rematch against Tyson. He was sure that the then champion had retained his titles during that first encounter only by luck. So, on March 3rd, '96, in the ring at MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, destiny granted his wish. Bruno had just won the WBC World Heavyweight title, and his first challenger was none other than Mike Tyson. Despite being the challenger, Tyson entered the fight as a 5-1 favorite. Perhaps this should have been taken as an omen of what awaited Bruno once the fight began. Being his third fight after getting out of prison, Tyson defeated Bruno by technical knockout 50 seconds into the 3rd round.
But it was a nice effort.
And anytime... Oh, here comes Tyson. Tyson with a cushion of fought McNeely and Mathis. Here's a combination uppercut by Tyson. Tyson laying it on, pouring it on. Down goes...
Bruno was confident that Tyson's time behind bars would work against him, and he could defeat him. However, by snatching the title from him, Mike only proved that he was back and just as dangerous. Mike Tyson versus Peter McNeely. Are you curious about who Tyson faced right after getting out of prison? His victim was none other than the unfortunate Peter McNeely. It would be his first fight in 4 years due to his prison sentence, and McNeely was the first to underestimate the great return of the youngest heavyweight champion in history. In terms of business, it was a highly anticipated matchup. Perhaps McNeely's promises to knock out Tyson in the first round fueled the interest of the general public. But contrary to that, the night of August 19, '95 is not a fond memory for the loudmouth. McNeely went down twice in less than a minute and a half of the fight.
Advertise comes right at Mike Tyson.
It was then that Vinny Vecchione, who was his manager, decided to jump into the ring to force Mills Lane, the referee, to stop the fight.
That nonsense because they were starting to butt heads. Oh.
Tyson with a left hook, right up, and then down goes McNeely.
Like a coward, it was clear that McNeely had underestimated the skills of a knockout machine that was still well-oiled. Mike Tyson versus Andrew Galot, and when it comes to cowards, we have to make room for Andrew Galot. He voluntarily decided not to continue after fighting only 2 rounds against the Great Iron Mike. These incredible events date back to the night of October 20th, 2000. So if you thought it happened when Tyson was at his peak, no. The coward fled when Iron Mike's career was coming to an end. Precisely because of this, Galot boasted of his ability to counter Mike's attacks. He was sure he would be worn out and wouldn't be as forceful as in the past. But what he experienced in the ring at the Palace in Auburn Hills, Michigan, was completely the opposite. From the start, Tyson came out swinging. Not only did he dominate the pace of the fight, he also severely punished Galot at every little opportunity he had. Therefore, after the second round, Galot got up from his stool and began to walk around his corner, refusing to fight another round. It was unheard of. His team tried to convince him to continue.
Senza portare colpi, è chiaro che si espone e c'è una ferita all'arcata sopraccigliare sinistra di Galot.
Speriamo che non sia niente.
Destro!
Gancio destro,
Il destro bestata, Tyson è chiaro, sente il sangue.
And Frank Garza, the referee, was patient with him, calling him more than once. However, there was no choice but to accept that the one who promised to stop Tyson could only stop himself because of his cowardice. As he was led back to his locker room, Galot was showered with trash and drinks from an audience that detested his decision. If you've made it this far, I thank you. Also, I remind you that there's no better way to support my content than by leaving your like on the video. Did you know the outcome of any of these Tyson fights? How much context did you have about his encounters with these harassers? I'll read you in the comments.
Tyson's height was seen as his weakness even before his transition to professional boxing. When this huge and terrifying opponent attempted to mock his measurements, Tyson responded like a true gentleman, assuring that it wouldn't be a problem once they stepped into the ring. Welcome. In today's video, I'll take you with me to go through the golden chapter of boxing history where Mike Tyson used what many considered a disadvantage to destroy a true giant in the ring. I hope you're comfortable because this new adventure begins right here. While nowadays the ideal heavyweight fighter figure has evolved to be under the standard of Tyson Fury, for example, in Iron Mike's time, the seed had already been planted that a boxer's height should be a remarkable aspect if they were expected to be intimidating in the ring. After being rejected by the Olympic team for his measurements, Tyson decided to turn what many pointed out as his weakness into his strongest weapon to start fighting against opponents taller than him, even before becoming the youngest champion in history. You probably remember how Tyson dominated Sammy Scaff, David Jocko, or the imposing Cuban Jose Ribalta.
Yeah, that's a fighter.
Threat on his path to glory. And thus we arrive at Frank Bruno. Looking at him gave the feeling of witnessing a giant mountain composed of muscles that created the perfect environment for unleashing violence. His almost 2 meters in height truly made him an intimidating fighter. Many of his opponents felt defeat just by seeing him enter the ring. But his appearance wasn't the worst part of the experience of being his rival. His punching power was lethal enough to knock out fighters similar to him. Before his encounter with Tyson, Bruno fought for the World Boxing Association belt in '86, where he was destroyed and knocked out by Tim Witherspoon.
Some rats around the head nonetheless. It's not all going his way. Confidence. But he's... both landed their best shots together there, and it's Bruno who was hurt on the top of the head, the left hook. He started to go to pieces in the corner, and he's breaking up a bit now. He's hitting him on. He's a good start, Bruno. Were you concerned about that? I can come back. I'm a great champion.
This setback in his discipline only motivated him to train harder, a decision that led him to collect a very good streak of beautiful knockouts with the ultimate goal of winning a new opportunity for the title. Destiny, fickle by nature, had crossed Bruno and Tyson's paths in their youth. When the great Iron Mike was just an aspiring boxer, he would become the rival of the man who would later dare to steal the titles that the different associations would confer on him. For, in the ring of the Hilton Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, Tyson had to defend his world heavyweight title from the Ring magazine for the first time, for the 5th time the International Boxing Federation title, for the 7th time the World Boxing Association title, and for the 8th time the World Boxing Council title. February 25, '89 was not simply just another fight in the discipline journey of any of these fighters. What was the second chance to achieve glory for Bruno was Tyson's chance to show an old rival the level he had developed. Thus, under the supervision of Richard Steele, both entered the honorable fighting ring to settle the debts of their past. Bruno's left pretended to break the ice, but only triggered Tyson's fearless offensive, which, after a brief exchange of blows, sent him to the canvas seconds after the start of the contest.
Bruno down after a right hand.
As he got back up and continued the fight, it became evident that Bruno's main target was Tyson's head. Amidst the clinches, Bruno found a way to sneak his right fist and collide it against the only thing standing between him and the world title, his old rival. Fighting on the edge of the limits, he received a clear warning from Steele when he pushed Tyson back against the ropes and delivered a controversial blow to the back of his head.
left and a right by Tyson, and now Bruno Rabbit.
And again, it's a smart tactic.
He seemed willing to do anything for the crown, and that only left Tyson in a dangerous environment. Tyson worked his victory with body shots. According to his experience, this was the best strategy to weaken his opponent from within. At times, Bruno played dishonestly while holding onto Mike Tyson's head. His fighting style, very close to the edge, gave the feeling that he was circumventing the rules. Every time Steele put some distance between them, Bruno had nothing but his unstable defense to stop the attacks of a Tyson who fought very well at close and medium range. Therefore, he knew he had to do whatever it took to reduce the chances of the great Iron Mike catching him.
Tall guy. The body shot will do some damage. Bring those with it.
Right hand by Tyson landed flush on the jaw.
If you're a fighter who hasn't trained your endurance, adrenaline spikes can cause harmful energy crashes. Precisely, the aforementioned scenario was what Bruno started to experience during the third round. With Tyson's hard punches landing on his body more frequently, he couldn't afford to lower the level of his offense. But in the other corner, Mike's strategy was being benefited by the exhaustion of a giant who didn't seem to last much longer.
It's very unorthodox, but it's work.
The commentators accused Tyson of not having the same fluidity as during his previous fights, but he knew that you can't beat all opponents with the same fighting style. Drop by drop, Iron Mike's punches were breaking the rock that Bruno represented on his way to a new victory. By the fourth round, Bruno started kicking to avoid drowning in the immense sea that Mike's war spirit represented against his, which had already started to be expelled from his trembling body. Tyson received fewer and weaker punches during the clinches that Bruno provoked. This gave him signals that his opponent didn't maintain the energy with which he started the fight. In his mind, it was the perfect time to bring heavy artillery onto the battlefield.
In his career, Tyson had a tendency to be lazy in clinches.
Just going in with his head.
From the first second of the fifth episode, Bruno went for Tyson's body only to be pushed, put against the ropes, and the target of a couple of blows. The message Mike sent was clear: I've come here to fight. His fighting style was now warlike, and he wasn't going to encapsulate it just because his opponent wasn't up to par. With more than half of the rounds to come and entering survival mode creates the risk of losing the fight, but Bruno seemed to ignore this fact. While he had managed to frustrate the first rounds for Tyson, now it seemed that he just wanted to prove to himself how much pressure he could withstand before breaking. Taking his time, Mike demonstrated his greatness by executing a combination of blows that created the perfect scenario for the least expected outcome of the night. Putting aside his intention to weaken Bruno with body shots, Tyson went straight to the head to make the giant muscle mountain tremble. Dancing around the ring, Bruno was left against the ropes at the mercy of Tyson's mercy.
And an uppercut with the right, and Bruno is wobbled again. A left hook. Uppercut, right hand. Bruno's in serious trouble. And Richard Steele watching carefully.
His enormous body was subjected to absorbing the blows of a champion who did justice to his titles. There were only 10 seconds left to survive, but Steele realized that Bruno was unable to defend himself.
Oh, it's just a matter of
This is vicious punishment.
That's that bolo shot.
And
beautiful
Richard
shot.
Steele has seen enough. As Terry Long.
Tyson had knocked out his inner warrior, and all that was left of the huge fighter was an empty shell standing by inertia. Thus, 5 seconds before closing the episode, the Great Iron Mike successfully defended his titles once again by technical knockout. The rivalry between Bruno and Tyson continued for years. Once again, the whims of fate forced them to step into the honorable boxing ring to measure forces in '96. With more experience and maturity, Bruno struggled to be the one to emerge victorious from the ring. What happened? That story belongs to another chapter. If you've made it this far, I thank you. If you've enjoyed this journey into the past, I remind you that there's no better way to support my content than by leaving your like on the video. Now that we confirmed that Tyson's strategy of targeting the bodies of his taller and bulkier opponents was a success over the years, do you really think a couple of extra centimeters make a difference? I'll read you in the comments. The year is 1991, and Mike Tyson had already become a living legend just 6 years after making his professional boxing debut. However, when the world learned that his next formidable opponent was none other than Donovan Ruddock, concerns arose for the reign of the young monarch fighting for the chance to reclaim his crown. With a bit more experience and greater proportions, the Canadian could potentially halt the momentum propelling Tyson to glory. Welcome. In today's video, I bring you the first part of an unprecedented sports clash. What happens when you leave two deadly weapons to their own devices in no man's land? Find out by watching this video until the end. Never before had a heavyweight elimination fight been experienced like this. Anyone who had the fortune to witness this contest live could affirm. On March 18, 91, at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, the best of the best were tested as future title contenders. Tyson entered the fight as the #1 contender of the World Boxing Council, the World Boxing Association, and the International Boxing Federation. His professional record was 39 wins, claiming 35 of them by ruthless knockout, and one defeat that shattered the myth of invincibility but didn't necessarily make him a comfortable opponent in the ring. Ruddock entered the fight as the heavyweight contender #2 of the same organizations. With a professional record of 25 wins, achieving 18 of them by knockout, 1 loss, and 1 draw, he seemed ready to take the position Tyson's powerful fists had claimed before. Accompanied by the legendary Richard Steele in the ring, the fight had its highly anticipated start. Tyson emerged from his corner with the aggression that characterized him, but for a change, he met the same attitude from his opponent.
For a home run with an uppercut which missed. The big question, can Ruddock withstand the cut?
It didn't take long for Ruddock to suffer a stumble that put Tyson in the lead. Filled with confidence, regardless of physical differences, Mike continued attacking Donovan, working for his victory from the first second. By the end of the round, the bout had turned into a close exchange of blows where Tyson set the pace. With this opening, the question of how long it would take the great Iron Mike to bring down the Canadian giant hung in the air.
Stop Iron Mike. What a right hand by Tyson, but it missed. And we felt the breeze. It was right above us. An associate minister lets them know. First combination punch is thrown, but there's another one. A good shot by Tyson hitting after.
The second episode opened, and quickly, the doubt that lingered in the minds of much of the audience that night was dispelled. A powerful left punch by Tyson was the reason Ruddock hit the canvas. Getting up immediately, it was evident that not even he could believe what had happened. After receiving the mandatory 8 count from Steele, the fight resumed. Tyson, now with the confidence of the recent turn of events, turned into a beast that Donovan could barely withstand. With clinches, he bought as much time as he could to prevent his tragic fall to the canvas from having a sequel. Back for the third round, it was undeniable that Tyson set the pace of the fight while Ruddock tried to keep up. Mike fought in expert mode, and the one threatening to take his ranking had switched to survival mode.
Take advantage. Never been in this kind of an atmosphere before, champ.
But when you can't defend yourself against Tyson's ruthless punches, the outlook can only be dark. Eventually, Tyson's sadistic onslaught took effect, and the most anticipated sequel at the moment created a stir in the audience. Donovan Ruddock had fallen to the canvas for the second time. Again, a violent left punch by Tyson forced the Canadian giant to take a break. His face was a picture, it left him stunned.
He just doesn't quite get this. There's a left by Ruddock, a left by Tyson, and down goes Ruddock.
At the count of 4, he was already on his feet, and fortunately, at the count of 8, when he was ready to return to the fight, the bell rang, announcing the end of the round. Now, Ruddock was in serious trouble. Tyson forced Ruddock to receive a greater dose of his merciless punches, just starting the 4th round. He knew that bringing down a giant would take more work than he had been doing, but that wasn't a problem for a fighter with his performance in the ring.
Mike Tyson having his way with right groans. That body shot sounded like he hit a drum. Again, the crowd groans. Relentless attack by Tyson.
Focused on nothing but securing his victory, he landed powerful punches on the body of a Donovan who already seemed exhausted, while he relied on his good footwork to dodge the majority of counterattacks.
And Razor Ruddock. Come on, working it
This scenario created a new question in the audience. Everyone was wondering how much longer the Canadian giant would resist facing Tyson. Tyson had become a predator by the time the 5th episode began. For Donovan, the fight was now a test of endurance.
Fire going again. Steele, warning. Oh.
Without major attempts to attack, he was submissive to absorbing the fearless punches Tyson landed almost unopposed on his body. Was he waiting for the youngest heavyweight champion in history to tire out to launch a new phase of his strategy? If so, it seemed that the plan wasn't unfolding as he had structured it in his mind.
Question is integrity or is honesty.
Tyson with it. He was looking for his 3rd straight.
Oh, look at
Ruddock's body collided with the ropes as soon as the 6th round began. With Tyson advancing like a tank, it was evident that the Canadian giant felt intimidated by his rival. For seconds, he tried to keep the beast at bay by stretching his left fist. However, Tyson was a master at sneaking in his attacks no matter how far or high his target was. Donovan continued trying to gain time in the clinches, but even in them, Mike found a way to connect his insolent fists to his body.
Oh, nice right hand by Tyson. Tyson way ahead, 50 to 43 on 5. These wild punches by Ruddock. Ruddock's throwing some hard leather from time to time. Only takes one in the...
It seemed that short or medium-range combat had the same result for Ruddock, becoming a victim of an executioner who had entered the ring to carry it out. With the crowd ecstatic, only a couple of minutes separated Tyson from victory. Of course, this was something both fighters were unaware of. It was the element of surprise that made what I am about to narrate so exciting.
Continues to stay on his feet. He's been knocked out twice early. 71 in 3.
While everyone listened to the bell that signaled the beginning of the 7th round, Tyson seemed to have heard "go for the head." Ruddock continued trying to buy time and reduce Tyson's attack chances with clinches, but it's not a strategy you can sustain during a 12-round scheduled fight. With Steele putting distance between them, Tyson's possibilities increased. With it, his offense grew and the pressure he exerted on the Canadian giant's voluptuous body also increased. A good punch after each clinch was enough to continue weakening a Ruddock who was only floundering.
See how Tyson moves on here in the 7th round.
When he was positioned against the ropes, his point of no return finally arrived.
The breeze just then. Tyson has Ruddock on the rope. If Tyson applies the pressure, he's got him where...
Steele put some distance between the fighters for the last time, but Donovan's guard didn't rise fast enough for what followed. Tyson, tired of playing with his prey, decided to turn the boxing ring into the scene of a massacre by executing a violent combination of punches that made the head of the Canadian giant dance from side to side. Retreating, Ruddock didn't have the strength to raise his fists and cover himself from the masterful offensive Tyson demonstrated after 6 hard rounds working to get to that point. Therefore, Richard Steele decided to separate the fighters one last time and check what everyone already knew: Donovan Ruddock was finished. Amid hugs with his corner, Mike Tyson celebrated the significant victory in his career by technical knockout against the fighter who posed the greatest threat to his ranking. Unsatisfied with the result, Donovan Ruddock faced Mike Tyson once again 3 months after what I just narrated. What happened? That's a story for another video. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. I remind you that there is no better way to support my content than by leaving your like on the video. Do you have some free time? Visit my channel. There you'll find videos with the best and worst of boxing available to accompany you at any time of your day. You just have to hit play on the next one and see me there. Now that you know the story behind the first encounter between these two lethal machines of the discipline, when do you think Donovan Ruddock sealed his fate against Mike Tyson? I'll read your comments.